The ocean has been in crisis in recent times.
Akazinara yade ba ma yamba ne wonye bi wodi ko school me nya so ya so moduan mpanyimfo agene na afiensem yenya adwuma bia so ka adwuma bia ka ho da for adwuma yara ya adwuma ya one way pe and this is in fact for adwuma da membre kakra ya America di wafa asa kra.
Overfishing and illegal fishing are said to be fueling the collapse of the marine ecosystems in Ghana. According to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, over 90% of global fish populations are fished at or beyond sustainable levels. This has become a critical food security issue for the millions who live in Ghana, particularly the nearly 4 million people whose livelihoods depend on the sea. But the industrial vessels from the developed states have been catching the fish that local, small-scale fishers have depended on for generations. And now the stocks are facing collapse. JoyNews' investigations revealed industrial trawlers were harvesting small pelagic fish using small net size. The parts of the fish caught by the industrial trawlers were packaged into boxes, frozen and transshipped on the sea to a group of fishermen who are engaged in saiko. Saiko refers to the transfer or transshipment of fish at sea from industrial trawlers to local canoes. Saiko ranks among the leading destructive, illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing offense in Ghana. The use of lights, explosives and chemicals such as DDT are other examples of IUU fishing offenses. London-based Environmental Justice Foundation has confirmed earlier estimate that in 2017, saiko fishing, the practice of transshipping fish at sea from industrial trawlers to specially adapted canoes, took around 100,000 metric tons of fish. Catching the small pelagic fish was one thing and hauling them back into the sea was another. The small pelagic fish were thrown back into the sea. Fisheries scientists describe the catching of the small pelagic and throwing them back into the sea as an act capable of poisoning the sea and further contributing to the dwindling fish stock. The investigations conducted by JoyNews shocked the artisanal fishers. The fishermen from Western, Central, Greater Accra regions embarked on a one-week protest demanding answers from the Fisheries Ministry and the Fisheries Commission. The artisanal fishers accused the Ministry of Fisheries and the Fisheries Commission of looking on for the sea to be destroyed, thereby affecting their livelihoods.
If someone is in red, it means there's a danger. But this one is a danger against our livelihood. As fishermen, we are supposed to be in the bumper season of the year. That is starting from July to September. But as you can see, the whole place is dry. From Volta region to Western region, the whole place, all the landy beaches are dry. Why? Because the saiko people, the Chinese, have taken over our seas. And this time around, if you go into the sea, you observe that they are everywhere. And the artisan fishermen don't have any place even to cast their nets.
Following JoyNews' documentary titled Saiko, When the Last Fish is Caught, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, headed by Mavis Hawakumson, announced a ban on the activities of saiko.
When I took office, barely a month, then we were slapped with yellow card. And so I called the EU ambassador from Ghana, and ambassador said, my sister, what is happening? How can I be slapped with such a punishment when I just took office barely a month ago? And he said, sister, calm down. It's something that was there before you came, but you are to bear the cross. So let's see. So we started working, and I had to move from Ghana to EU with the president to go and talk to them. So I realized I cannot always be begging the European Union to be, easing our sanctions and other things, and so we have to do the right thing. So I came to the fisher folks to tell them that please, this is the situation that we are into, and so I will need your support. They also told me what their problems are, and by God's grace we are moving. But when we were to do the close season, we met with them with the artisanal people. So the artisanal people made mention of their issue that they have been doing transshipments and other things. It isn't all of them that can have the money to go on the sea to do the transshipment. So we realized that it wasn't helping. So what do we do? Then they promised me that, oh madam, since we have agreed to observe the close season, we bet you when the season is open, we will stop with the saiko, that's the transshipment. And I thought it was a joke. They gave me this promise at the Volta region, Keta, where we did close the sea. And truly, truly, since we opened the sea, as we sit today, I have not had any complaint. Not even from the artisanal people that there has been any transshipment. Because I made it known to them that if we see or if you are caught doing transshipment, your vessel will leave the sea immediately.
This illegal trade used to take place in Elmina, a saiko hotspot in Ghana where over 80% of the trade occurs. According to the Environmental Justice Research, it had an average of 11 landings a week since November 2019. Other notable places like Apam and Shama also had their saiko market closed down.
Saiko is a type of a job or a work that helps a lot, and the saiko is the byproduct or the bycatch of the industrial vessels which will be thrown into the sea. That's we collected it as they regard it waste, and we collect this for our livelihood and make a lot of people employment. It's a chain work. We brought this bycatch from Marie. It's not frozen, just fresh, but the moment we brought it at ashore, it gets to rot. So we appeal to those who throw it away, the vessel owners, then they start freezing it to us. And this have created a lot of employment, rather throwing it into the sea as waste or to pollute the sea. That's why it has created, we have brought it, and it has created a lot of job. And saiko is not purposeful for Elminas, it's for the whole Ghana.
Justice Pry used to be in the saiko business. He sits on one of the canoes here at the landing bay at Elmina. Many thoughts about the collapsed saiko business flash his mind. The 54-year-old doesn't understand why his trade has been banned.
So unexpected, we have been bound not to go. So all these fish are being thrown into the sea, make so many people jobless. And for as time as today, about 10 months now, in fact, people are suffering. Taking people, even the taxi drivers, the market people, and the banks and all over here. If government can just check in and look back for this our business, can simple make this BNI or whoever to come and investigate to know the number of people that this saiko bounding have taken them out of business. And two, this fish being dumping. Two is polluting, as the fisheries law says, and the FAO report says that being throwing this waste fish into the sea, it pollutes the water. So we can see that this bounding of the saiko industry have make in effect on the local fishermen. Whilst formerly it's not so, I thought it's getting worse.
Kofi Duka, Justice's counterpart in the banned saiko business, is livid about the ban of the business.
Yes, they've banned us for almost about getting to 1 year. The real fishermen, the artisanal fishermen are not getting their fish. And then the fish are being dumped into the sea. Yeah, they are thrown overboard because they didn't go there purposely for this bycatch. They went there for their own fish. So if you are not going for it, they will damn them. So the real fishermen not getting their fish, it is not because of saiko. Saiko is not the activity we are doing, the bringing down the fish itself. Saiko is the fish itself. So if the trawlers are there fishing, taking about 10% of the fish to Tema, and those going for the fish are not working, then I don't see any reason you say that you have banned the saiko, because the same fish that we bring from the vessels with this is our carriers, the same fish is being boxed to Tema at a very high cost, in which when we go and then bring the fish, it is very less for even for the school feeding, for the hospitals, their canteens and everything.
The arguments by the two are not popular among the fisher folk as far as working to restore the depleted fish stock in the Atlantic Ocean is concerned.
We've realized that the illegal transshipment of fish that we call saiko, where you find slabs of fish being transferred to canoes at sea, which is illegal by the Fisheries Act, are stopped. So when you go or are suspended in the various ports that we know, talk of Elmina, Apam, and then Axim.
Charles Smith is a communications and media officer with the Environmental Justice Foundation. Charles' organization has commended the Minister of Fisheries for the bold steps she's taken so far in Ghana's bid to restore the depleted fish stocks. He is pushing the ministry to apply the law.
I can say that there are cases of saiko which are currently being dealt or being adjudicated in the courts. At least I know of Takoradi courts. And it is important for us to bring or make known all these suspected cases of saiko and then let them go through the prosecutorial chain without any hindrance whatsoever, so that the law takes its course naturally and then fines imposed are paid. Now, once this is done, it will serve as a deterrent for people who are into this act.
Behind me are hundreds of canoes that have parked here. This is their resting place actually. We are told that the canoes number up to about 600. But the place is becoming dormant and dormant because nothing seems to be happening here. Here used to be a very, very busy place. It is called the Saiko Market. But we've come here to see that it is virtually dead, non-existent, silent. Nothing seems to be happening because the business has been collapsed. The minister announced the collapse of the Saiko business.
Since we opened the sea, since September up to date, I've not had any reports on saiko. And fortunately for us, we are now, our VMS is operational to check on those things. So the moment we see that two canoes or vessels are together, then we'll suspect that something bad is going on. Quickly we'll draw your attention and we'll call you back. Find out what you are doing.
Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Mavis Hawa-Kumsin. Madam Hawa-Kumsin was greeted with the challenges in the sector when she assumed office. Chief among the challenges was the issue of transshipment, popularly known as saiko.
Yes, when I took over, I realized there were some vessels with infractions and they had not honored them. So I said, well, I'll find a way. In total, it was close to 6 million Ghana cedi. So I made up my mind that their next renewal of their license, if they don't pay those infractions, they will not be given their license. And so last year, when they did the close season, when we opened in September, eventually they had to go to sea in October. Because if you don't pay, you are not giving the license. And I made sure that some of them, in fact, almost all of them pay, but they have to bring me payment plan because some of the amounts were very huge. Some were owing, in fact, close to 1 million, 2 million Ghana cedi. And so you have to give them payment plan to pay. And some have finished paying. Some have finished paying. We're able to retrieve close to 4 million last year. And as we speak, before I gave them license for this quarter, I made sure that they came to pay. And so that was for 2018 and 2019. Our process is, when you are identified, you will be given the information. Then the enforcement units will come on board, take you to police station or to courts. If you want out of court settlement, then they can do that, out of court settlement, and you pay your money. So some of them were taking advantage of the out of court settlement. And so when they go, they say, oh, we want out of court settlement. And when they come, they don't pay. But I make sure that they pay all their money. Now, we just constituted the fisheries committee board. So the board chair was with me 2 days ago, and he's informed me that they are now going to go through those from the 2020 and 2021. And the law says that if you have multiple infractions, you can be banned from fishing. And I'm calling for those documents. As I sit here, that's what I'm waiting for. If you have multiple infractions, we will decide on you. Because if you think you can keep paying, and so you can keep misbehaving on the sea, then you will stop going for the fishing. If you are not there, you will not do anything bad. So stay away. That's the next level we are.
Even though the Ministry of Fisheries has banned saiko, the illegal transshipment of fish at sea, the fisherfolk continue to agitate.
The fisherfolk say that the cycle has not really ended, even though they agree with the ministry that it's ended at the places, the cycle markets, but it has manifested in a different form. If you go to Tema, they say that they are landing the small pelagic that artisanal fishers are supposed to catch. And this to them is like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And cafe to the mimi that China for one of my waffling and Naman Kakaman, and there you wait, Cochoco, a buy, Boko Fitano, watch a chill bottom.
Ifwaframa is a fishmonger here at Abazi, one of the fishing communities in the central region. She recounts vividly how the trawlers continue to land the fish that were once caught by the artisanal fishers.
What I blame him and ya talk. Nanya yet ya punano, a pun, Yankupua, my tablet, chilo. One friend to be a punano or sayabagui, not the end of the punumu. Nanya yet ya punano, what's it, my entity, my yankopunumu. What to punumu? No more China, yes, baby, we are about true a punumu, no, panam, no watch a chillum, what twame. Manya ya talk. China for one fipum. Mande ya mukratama chana mwana no wa afipum won fipum wo wopunum wa panam ba na nye yegua amunum nda na pay fudi.
President of the Canoe and Gear Owners Association of Ghana, Nana Kweja, raises a similar concern about the saiko ban.
It has taken us so many years advocating for the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development and the Fisheries Commission to enforce the law and stop the illegal transshipment at sea.
Even though he's been full of praise for the minister over the sanity she's brought to the sector, the landings at the Tema port continue to worry him.
I must commend the Honorable Minister for taking steps to end the illegal transshipment, where small pelagics and juvenile fish are harvested by trawlers against the law and are transshipped to adapted canoes, which are landed at the coastal communities for sale. However, the practice of industrial trawlers harvesting juvenile fish and small pelagics, which are so preserved of artisanal fishes, has not stopped. For now, we say we are left with a situation where the state is supervising the illegality of trawlers harvesting what is meant for artisanal fishes, landing them at the port, putting them at the coastals, and selling them later at the communities through vans. So practically, the illegal transshipment has been stopped by the ministry and the commission. But the practice of trawlers harvesting small pelagics, which are so preserved of artisanal fishes, has not stopped.
At a recent event to deliver relief items to cushion the fisher folk during the close season period, the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Mavis Hawakumsin, agreed with the concerns of the fisher folk and has cancelled such landings by the trawlers. She gives the 1st of September as the date the ban would take effect.
No, already there is no cycle. You see, well, the cycle locally is transshipment on sea. But now we don't do transshipment on sea. What they do is, the ministry gave them, that was my predecessor, gave them 15% allowance of bycatch. My predecessor, no, almost 15% of bycatch allowance. Now you stop almost from doing cycle, transshipment on the sea, no. Into almost all I know, mudi bebre di ako port ako lande. Omanya ame so much. Inti me hu echiri inti no so me be cancel. Tina me see by September. No bycatch, no cycle. Omo ntumi hwegu because there is directives. Say omo wo net omo use. Omo be chi na me wo so omo chi. Pense me menkumi nya ni anibri na omo use net nketoa. E de chi sa fish no. Eti yama omo ya year auditing. Ti yama omo the prescribed one they should use. Yama ministerial directives. Eti say yes can cancel 15% bycatch na. Ebe compel omo ko use the right gear no e de achi. One chi aye patrol na ehun say because ye VMS no be monitor. Ebe hu say wo ye dumping at sea. Ye chi wa wo betua $1 million. Net issue afutu amema ne say in fact ministry no so e the initiative bi ba. Ministry ni say e bi a wo be kodwoma akotono ne boye wode. Eti we are going to give subsidy on net no so. Inti they say make say leadership no lazy with the people on the ground. Now omo to me enya numbers no omo dey aba. So if it is 10,000 or marketer, we'll give it to you around 5,000 or 6,000. Now buy so aso wasini. Eti ye ne sa wie. Na wunya net ni we ni ye ba. Na ye ba. Na we use net as say we use a. Ye becho.
Ghana's overexploited marine stocks continue to limit domestic seafood production, while population and economic growth push consumption upwards. In February 2022, President Akufo-Addo indicated Ghana spends over $200 million annually to import fish to shore up its fish requirement due to illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing activities, which have contributed significantly to a decline in fish stocks. So what's the ministry's plan towards the recovery of the fishery stocks?
It's very painful, especially when you know you have the resources and you cannot benefit from it. Very, very painful. As the president said, I told you that I had to go to Belgium with him to plead with the EU concerning the yellow card. So he's also very much concerned. And so he's giving me every support, the needed logistics. We have begun the process of buying a research vessel to be able to do research and know the species that we have in the sea in stock. And then we're also going to buy patrol boats to be patrolling on the sea. Now we can only do land patrols, and even that one is not very effective. But when we add the patrol boats, it will also help us.
Are there timelines?
Well, within this year, the budget, it was in the budget. It was in the budget. Apart from that, like I said, that's why we're fighting the illegal activities. We keep telling the fishers, stop using chemicals in catching the fish. Stop dumping of fish at sea. Because you cannot do the transshipment, then you go and do dumping. So go in for the right fishing gear. And we are not going to use sanctions on that. because we gave them, we've done the GA auditing, and we've had a discussion with them. We're giving them time. Now it's time for them to start using the approved GA, fishing GA. And so when we come and you are not using the approved fishing GA, you're going to be in trouble. The ministry is also doing another initiative by getting the fishers, the approved, that is the artisanal ones, the approved fishing GA. Yes, you cannot, if you cannot buy it outright, we'll give it to you on a high purchase. You pay it in installments, so that you can also get. And if we give you this opportunity and you don't obey the rules and the regulations, then we will take you on. So we are seriously fighting against the illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing activities on our sea. And if we are able to succeed, we'll be able to conserve the stocks remaining and even improve on it, because definitely the resource will come.
For the president of the Canoes and Gear Owners Association of Ghana, even though some issues are being tackled in the fishing industry, a lot more ought to be done to help save the industry from further collapse.
I think the Minister, Honorable Howard Kumisin, has shown a lot of interest and commitment in a number of issues. In the case of supply of inputs, the Minister demonstrated leadership in ensuring that outboard motors meant for fishers, which have not been supplied for several months, were supplied. We have been made aware of efforts to give nets, approved nets to fishers. And even in during the 2021 close season period, some nets were shared among some fishers. Until we assure artisanal fishers of some catch, it will be difficult for artisanal fisheries to survive. It is important for the Honourable Minister to take further steps beyond the ministerial directives to regulate the GS, to ensure that what is meant for artisanal fishers are duly preserved for artisanal fishers. It is our expectation that the Honourable Minister will take steps to eradicate the unhealthy competition that artisanal fishers have been subjected to by industrial fishers, so that artisanal fishers can have what is meant for them. We have the issue of the use of explosives and chemicals. There has been some plans to introduce fish freshness meters or test kits. It is about time the test kits are deployed to the various landing beaches to ensure that the few fishers who are still believed to be using such obnoxious chemicals and then explosives are stopped from that. The use of illegal nets, especially undersized nets, which facilitate the harvesting of juvenile fish, actually erodes, as I have always been saying, the potential for the stocks to reproduce or to multiply. It is important steps are taken to undertake a full-scale GA exchange regime to ensure that all illegal nets are taken out of the system and legal nets are supplied to the fishers, so that fishers will fish responsibly.
Well, for the fishers, their wish is to see a vibrant fishing industry, an industry that would revive the hopes of the fishing communities and the millions of people in Ghana who depend on the resources of the sea for their survival. For JoyNews Hotline, my name is Richard Kwejenyako.